the Mad Greek. I knew it. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. I just found an article and we're going to go over it. And we're also going to go over the new paperwork when it comes to the expanded gag order that was just filed. So let's go ahead and get into this first thing. Now, I'm going to say like I always say, take everything with a grain of salt because there is a gag order, G-A-G-O-R-D-E-R, on this case, but information still keeps getting leaked. Now, this is the second People magazine in the past like 2 or 3 days after the gag order that is trying to connect Bryan Kohberger, who was the suspect in the case, to any of the victims of 1122 King Road from that night. Now, I've mentioned how Mad Greek, the restaurant that Maddie and Xana both worked at, it just made the most sense to me with how vegan that we knew Bryan Kohberger is, for that to have been the place for him to have first known of any of the victims' existence. Now, as far as I can tell, Kaylee never worked at that restaurant, but her and Maddie are like super besties, right? So there would be no reason for there not to have been a time where if Bryan Kohberger was like a constant at this place, he couldn't have seen her. Or maybe if Kaylee was his target, because we don't know who the target was at this point. We just know there's connections that truly need to be verified and found. That while maybe stalking either Xana or Maddie on Instagram or stalking them period, maybe physically and driving by the house, maybe then he would have seen Kaylee and Kaylee would have become his thing of obsession. But at this point, like I've mentioned, it's leading all away from Kaylee. Her being literally just in the wrong place at the wrong time on a night that she wasn't even supposed to be there at that, and it all leading down to him meeting Maddie and Xana at the Mad Greek and becoming obsessed with one of them. Now, like I mentioned in my previous video, it is very possible that he handled whatever he handled or attempted to handle something with Xana and Ethan on the second floor. Maybe Dylan didn't hear that interaction and then went upstairs to the third floor, did whatever he did to Maddie and Kaylee, and then came back down, because that's where we hear that Dylan started first hearing noises was upstairs. Now, it could have easily just been that he was upstairs first and then came down and did what he did on the second floor and left, but we don't know. And because we don't know truly who his first intended target was, and until that comes out in court, this is literally all just suspicion, allegation, speculation. There's nothing that we've been given so far to verify any of this. This is all based off of this truly information that we're not even supposed to be getting right now. So we're going to go ahead and just skim through the very beginning of this article. It's from People magazine, like I mentioned. It was posted today around 4:45. The time of this recording is January 19th at 5:48. I have a premiere in a few minutes, so I'm just trying to get this done real quick. The article goes on to state, Idaho suspect Bryan Kohberger visited restaurant where 2 victims worked at least twice before the unalivings. According to a former employee at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow, Idaho, Bryan Kohberger came in at least twice to grab vegan pizza. And then it states, according to a former employee at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow, Idaho, same sentence again, 2 of the victims, Madison Mogan and Xana Kernodle, were servers at the restaurant. It's unclear if either woman ever waited on Kohberger or if they even interacted, but People magazine confirms that a now-deleted account that appeared to belong to Kohberger once followed both Mogan and Kernodle on Instagram, along with the third female victim, Kaylee. People also confirmed via an investigator familiar with the case that law enforcement is aware of the restaurant visits and that investigators have interviewed employees and owners of the Mad Greek. They have also collected surveillance video from the restaurant and surrounding businesses. Well, if they have all of his phone pings, I'm pretty sure at that point, at this point, at the point prior to his arrest, they would have seen all the times that he had been in that area. There's no way that those investigators and detectives weren't smart enough to do that whole correlation between where 2 out of the 4 victims worked and the person they were currently trying to investigate as the suspect. So I'm pretty positive they knew all this way before whoever this investigative source is that told People magazine. The former employee tells People that there was nothing suspicious about KOHBERGER's visits to the Mad Greek and that he only stood out because he had a particular order. A strict vegan, KOHBERGER would check to make sure that his food had not come into contact with animal products. So I guess he would just act kind of like, a male version of the vegan teacher. We need pop-up in there, which, I mean, I understand if that's your diet, but to do it enough to where it's noticeable, because you can't make me believe that he's the only vegan person that would order food from there and ask that question. So for it to stand out enough to where they recognized him, it just must have maybe been his demeanor or the way he acted about it, because that can't be like an uncommon thing, right? Now, when I posted about this in my community tab, I also mentioned that there's been an expansion to the gag order, and there has, and it was filed yesterday, January 18th, the same day that we all heard that the search warrant had been unsealed. Now, this expanded order even includes any of the attorneys related to the families and working with the families involved in this case to no longer say a word. So I'm pretty sure they've all gotten wind at this point that there's somebody giving information to People magazine, and maybe they don't know exactly who it is yet, and they feel like expanding the gag order might put whoever this source is finally under this protective umbrella. But I guess we'll see. We can't really tell for sure, but if People magazine keeps posting articles and stuff or not, if this person is still talking to them, or if People magazine is just really milking all the information that they were given from this person into several, who knows, weeks of articles ahead in the future. We really have no idea. But this was definitely filed yesterday, the same day that the search warrant was released, and it's donezo. No attorneys are allowed to talk. No one is able to say anything at all anymore. We have definitely got to pay attention to where we are getting our information from. And again, I will state, speculation, seeing things online, asking questions about it, that's all great and groovy, but we do not need to veer away from the actual factual facts in this case. This case is too important. Every case is too important. The facts are what matters. Speculation based off of straight up facts is totally fine. Speculation and making crap up to make things even more terrible than they already are is not okay. Now, we have some months, guys, until that end of June court date. Just because we're getting little sprinkles of nuggets right now doesn't mean that we're going to get Easter eggs dropped like this to us the entire time, especially now since they're pretty much nailing down this gag order. They're pretty serious about information not getting out. They want to protect the integrity of the case. We should appreciate that. All right, it's time to go play Grounded on Xbox with my son, I think. We have some brood mothers to attack. See y'all.